All right, guys, how's it going out there? We're out here today fishing California with EBA, and we're out here today in California talking about fishing. Specifically, we're going to be talking about fishing and recreating at Lake Camanche, California. If you've been to Lake Camanche, you know some really nice things about this lake, some really not so nice things. Today, we're going to cover the top 5 worst things about the lake. These are things that if you're recreating, if you're camping, fishing, hiking, skiing, jet skiing, maybe your camera's sliding away from me. Maybe you're going out there and your goal is to go out there and you want to go swim with your kids. Maybe you want to go camping. This video is really going to help you. If you're out there and you're an angler and you're trying to figure out, okay, you know, what are some of the good and bad things about this fishery or this lake? Today we're going to discuss those things. So let's get straight to it. Top 5 worst things. Worst thing number 1 would be the etiquette. A lot of etiquette, fisherman etiquette, etiquette between, you know, just people and other people, giving people some space when there is an entire lake. There's lots of shoreline access and there is, you know, room for everybody, but unfortunately, you might go out there and have the person that comes out to recreate wanting to recreate right where you are. They might want to be swimming where you're swimming. They might want to be fishing right on top of you where you're fishing, especially you know, if you're catching fish. This to me is a bummer, you know. It just going out there trying to get away, trying to have a day to myself with, you know, the family. Maybe you got kids, maybe you go out there with a girlfriend or just a buddy. You're going out there, you're trying to get away, and sometimes people are just really all over you in the sense of, like I said, trying to fish where you're fishing or camp, recreate where you're trying to recreate. So that's a huge issue for me at this particular place. I don't know about you guys, but it's a big deal to me when I'm out there. I spend a lot of money to get out there, and you know, I'm trying to have a barbecue or I'm trying to fish or swim, and there's other people that are trying to you know, do exactly that same thing where I'm at. Now, the other issue, number 2, that I have with this particular fishery would be that when I go to Lake Camanche, you know, obviously it's hot a lot of the year, you know, so, you know, that's not really a bad thing, but it can get extremely hot to the point where ice, keeping things cold, fishing on the boat, camping, day use, it gets difficult sometimes. Block ice is an absolute must in the summer months. Don't go out there with less than a few blocks of ice. So the heat can be a downer if you don't have block ice in the summer. The next big thing that I want to talk about is alcohol, drinking alcohol. At this point, drinking alcohol at the lake has become no longer okay. So I believe it's like December through January you can have a beverage, an alcoholic beverage. I don't drink, but for the rest of the year, when most people are going to be at the lake, except people that are in their, you know, they live local or they're in a trailer, those people can drink in the winter months, but everybody else is going to be going out there, and when they want to have a beverage, they're not going to be able to. So no drinking. Alcohol is something that is it's a huge factor, you know. I don't drink, but if I did, it'd be a factor as to where I go. You know, and this is connected to number 2 because they've had a lot of accidents. A lot of people have gotten hurt. They've had a lot of lawsuits. They've got some issues in people getting hurt, people being drunk, fights, instances where maybe there's a lot of campgrounds and one rowdy group and another rowdy group, or a couple people that are just you know, drinking too much, get out of control. Garbage would be my 3rd problem with this lake. So garbage, lots of garbage scattered throughout, and a lot of the garbage is glass. It's bottle caps from beers, it's cans from beers, it's you know, water bottles, water caps, beer cans, beer lids, and glass bottle lids, actual glass. So that's number 3 would be the amount of garbage that the lake has. you know, and there's a lot of negatives to that, but getting to a campsite where you're surrounded by hundreds of bottle caps, broken glass, and some other things, that's not cool. Going to the lake and trying to recreate and having to step on it as a fisherman or a swimmer, maybe you want to let your kids go down to the lake, you can see them and they're swimming. A lot of injuries, a lot of lawsuits, and a lot of stuff like that happening. The next thing I want to focus on at this particular lake, this recreation site, this fishing area, day use and things of that nature, is that there has, and even boating, there has been the China mussel, which has, you know, to everyone that I've talked to, made its way into that fishery. They're assessing it now, and so the China mussel invading Lake Camanche is a big deal. Could it affect the fishing? Yes. Will it affect the fishing? Yes. How drastically will it affect the fishing is a question mark to be, that's to be answered, but not in a positive way. So it's going to eat a lot of plankton. It's going to eat the mussel, the China mussel. It's going to eat a lot of the food that a lot of the fry, a lot of the bait balls, a lot of those juvenile fish really need to survive. So as soon as they come into hatch and whatnot, they're out. They immediately have 0 calories. They need to feed right now. And the things they feed on, microscopic things, a lot of things that are very small, plankton and insects and things of that nature, are the same things that these mussels eat. Another thing that comes with this is a closure in the lake. Now, the closure in the lake for boating and watercraft has been blown out of proportion because right now there's so many things happening. You know, they're assessing the lawsuits. They're in lawsuits, actually actively trying to get them closed. They're trying to figure this out right now. They've got mussels invading. They don't want it to spread anywhere else. They don't want it to essentially affect other fisheries, but at the same time, you know, they're really trying to keep a wrap on it. It's tight-lipped. And at the same time, like I said, they're trying to figure out, it looks like they're proceeding forward with no alcohol allowed in the park the majority of the year. And they're doing that to keep a lot of the issues down, the problems I'm mentioning. So if you're going out to Lake Camanche, you know, it is a great place to go catch bass in the winter, in the fall, spring. It can be a great place to catch trout and panfish, catfish at the summertime period. However, it does have some drawbacks. Like every lake, it has a few extra drawbacks that are significant. So, you know, they've been stocking the ponds a lot more instead of the main lake due to the closure, trying to allow people that maybe, you know, want to just be able to fish easy, fish close, boom, right there. But the main lake, I would say that it's a good thing. We haven't had boats on that lake now for a little bit of time. I don't want to get into technical how long, but it feels like almost 4 months or so, 5 months, we haven't had boats on the water at that lake. Is it going to help the fishery, that pressure not being there? I think so. I think when it does open back up to boating, if it opens up back to boating, when it opens back up to boating, they're going to make a go, but I think they're going to do what's best in the long run. We've got Lake Pardee kind of shut down. The last 2 years, almost nothing has happened except massive setbacks for that fishery. So everywhere I look, Amador's where everyone's going, but a lot of pressure. You know, they say a lot of fish being planted, but a lot of pressure. I wouldn't, you know, prefer to go to Amador, but a lot of people are, you know, 100 boats on the water a day right now at that fishery. But Camanche, guys, the last thing I want to mention about Lake Camanche, the last thing, the top 5, you know, so we've covered more than 5, but they've been in depth, so they've got an issue within an issue, if you will. And now we're at the 5th, the last item that we want to discuss about Lake Camanche. And it's not the prices going up, which they have. It's the way in which the people who've already purchased annual passes, boat passes, day use access to launch their boat, how they're being affected by this. They paid, they're prepared, they're ready to go. They maybe love this lake, they fish it all the time, they fish it once in a while. It doesn't matter. When you spend that kind of money on an annual pass to launch your boat, to park your boat, to do this and to do that, and you're kind of, told, hey, that's not gonna, that's not happening. I believe from what I was quoted, 33 cents a day is what they're being refunded for every day they cannot be on the water for those people that have purchased these annual passes, these season passes. They are ready to rock and roll. They basically, this is their lake, or this is a lake they hit quite often. To buy an annual pass, it is, some place that you go quite a bit, and their investment not only is, we toward the end of the March, and we've got that as an, we're looking at almost 1/3 of the year that they haven't had access to the lake, that they've prepped and paid for all these different things, permits, annual permits. Let's get to that. Those same people bought annual permits because permits can get outrageous there if you go and pay individually. So they bought the annual permit. It made sense when you get 12 months. It does not make sense when you get whatever amount of months they're allowing them. I mean, at this point, they've had 0 days on the water for their annual stuff, their passes of what, for the permit, for the boat, and the boat parking and the launching. They've got 0. So, 33 cents a day is kind of a slap in the face. I think a full refund would be appropriate, and allowing them, whenever they decide to reopen the facility, for those people that are, then I think that changes. But I think they need to be compensated far greater. I think that Camanche makes plenty of money, and I think that Camanche will play a political game like a lot of fisheries, where they pretend like, oh, like you don't make a lot of money on that water, like you don't make a lot of money in all regard with this particular recreation facility. And if you drop the ball and you allow people to purchase those passes and not be able to use them, I think that's wrong. So stay tuned, guys. We got more videos coming soon. I hope you guys enjoy. Thanks for watching.